Nashville's three great shopping places: Big Green Hollow Mall, Cool Springs Galleria, and Rivergate Mall. Something special is waiting for you. Great gift ideas and so much more. Anything and everything you're looking for. Style after style, store after store. Nashville's three great shopping places: Big Green Hollow Mall, Cool Springs Galleria, and Rivergate Mall.
Take a new look at Cool Springs Galleria, where a gorgeous renovation is now complete. The fabulous new amenities will have you feeling like you've never left home. Lush, soft seating, carpeted walkways, and an exciting kids' play area are just a few of the enhancements you'll find. With over 160 stores to choose from, Cool Springs Galleria offers wonderful selection in an elegant, comfortable environment. Look forward to a weekend-long celebration of events at Cool Springs Galleria during Grand Celebration May 18th through the 21st. Check out CoolSpringsGalleria.com.
What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Urbex. You may have noticed that the video started out at dusk, and now here we are in the middle of the day. Well, or what appears to be the middle of the day. See, I went inside and did my inside filming first, and by the time I'd got finished with that, it was almost dark outside. So that's why the exterior shots look like it's almost nighttime, whereas then we switch over to me entering the mall and it's daytime. But enough of that. This is the Cool Springs Galleria in Franklin, Tennessee, part of the Nashville metro area, and it is a very thriving mall. This is a fairly big mall, as you could see by the directory, and 2 levels, so this video is going to be a little longer than normal. I visited this mall on a trip to Nashville right around the Christmas season of 2024, so that's why everything's still decorated for the holiday season. So let's get into the history of this mall and explore the entirety of this amazing shopping destination. In the middle of corn and hay fields just off I-65 once sat a futuristic-looking mid-century white building that was once home to the American-type Founders ATF Company manufacturing plant. Today, most people don't know what metal type is, since most printing is now done digitally, but in its heyday, ATF dominated the business, beginning in 1982. The company would go on to develop typefaces that are still in use today, including News Gothic, Franklin Gothic, and Century Schoolbook. By 1978, the building would be switched over to the hands of a company named Southwestern. Southwestern was an employee-owned conglomerate with companies involved in publishing, insurance, investment services, travel, business, and leadership coaching, as well as real estate and sales. Then, on Christmas Eve of 1988, a massive tornado tore through the area, completely destroying the building. Now, why am I telling you all this stuff when we're here to talk about a mall? Well, that's because this was all important things that happened before the mall and was all stuff on the property where the mall now sits. Now that the former building had been wiped away by the tornado, a man named Gary Baker would propose a racetrack to be built in the area where the Home Depot is now. Obviously, the city of Franklin and its residents didn't want a racetrack to be built in that area, so it was turned down. Instead, Gary would decide to turn the property into what you see today, the Cool Springs Galleria. Financially, Gary came out fairly well, but he still says that he would have preferred to see a racetrack here. The Cool Springs Galleria would be a joint development between CBL and the Edward J. DeBartolo Corporation, and would officially open in 1991. The mall would originally open with 3 anchor stores, Kastner Knott's, Dillard's, and a Sears. It would also include additional space for up to 2 more anchors in the future. The Kastner Knott store would later become a Proffitt's, then a Hetch's, and then Macy's. The mall would feature nearly 200 stores in over 1 million square feet of retail space. In May of 2011, it was announced that Tia Kreff would receive 50% ownership of the mall and several other CBL malls in an attempt to reduce CBL's debt. In 2013, the Sears would close and be sold to CBL, who would have plans to redevelop the space. Today, the mall still has 4 anchors, a Macy's, a Belk, a Dillard's, and a JCPenney. Unfortunately, this mall doesn't have a whole lot of history, at least not that I could find in my research. And I kind of think that's due to the fact that this mall has always been thriving and still is. So there really isn't a whole lot of stores that have come and gone. And the mall's definitely not dying, so we can't really talk about all the things that are currently leaving the mall. So it's just kind of like, these are the stores the mall has, and that's pretty much it. And this is when the mall was built, and this is how large it is. So I think for the remainder of the video, I'll be popping in every now and then to give you my thoughts on this mall and what we're looking at. But for now, I want to leave you here to enjoy some smooth vaporwave of the 1980s. So here we are approaching the Barnes & Noble, and yes, I've been to a lot of malls that had a Barnes & Nobles in it. However, I've never seen one of the newer style Barnes & Nobles in a mall. This is my first experience with that. And I know a lot of Barnes & Noble fans loved the old school Barnes & Noble, just the feel of it and the vibe and the size. And this is a fairly large Barnes & Noble for the newer style. I kind of regret not going inside to document more of it, but you can kind of get a little peek inside, through the front doors. All right, we're about to head into this Japanese store. I'm assuming it's Japanese, called Miniso. It's just a weird store. I've been in them before, and I just kind of don't understand the thrill or the draw of them, although they are really fun to walk around, maybe just because it's a completely different environment from what most Americans are used to in their everyday life. So let's go inside and explore it. Because you'll notice a ton of like knockoff things, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure that's not licensed Disney or licensed Warner Brothers, etc. And I could be wrong, but a lot of it just looked like weird knockoffs. And of course, I wish I could let you hear all of the Japanese or Asian, maybe it's Korean, K-pop music that seemed to be blasting throughout the store. It was real kind of strange. If you've ever been to a store like this, you'll understand what I'm talking about. If you want to hear the original audio from this store and the rest of the mall, then you'll need to become a Patreon member or a YouTube member, so that way you can gain access to my member exclusive videos where I will be posting the raw and real edition of this entire mall tour. There will be links for that on screen at the end of the video and in the description box below. Alright, so have you guys ever been to a Belk outlet before? I know I don't get to see a lot of Belk stores because they're mainly in the South, and I live just across the border of the South in Ohio. Technically, Kentucky they consider the South, although I don't feel it's very Southern. Anyways, you know, that's a discussion for another video and another argument. But anyways, it was just kind of odd being in this Belk kind of like an outlet clearance center. Almost felt like a Dillard's clearance center, just brighter and more up to date. Now, for a store that's clearance oriented, I found that it was very well organized and well put together, not just a jumble of nonsense, things on the floor, you know, all disorganized. And maybe that's just because I didn't see a whole lot of people shopping in here. And yes, the mall was quite busy when I visited. So what are your thoughts on this Belk outlet? Have you ever been to a Belk outlet before? Have you been to this one? And what was your experience? I'd like to know down in the comment section below. As I took a ride up the escalator to the second level, I noticed something interesting off to my left. It said free gift wrapping, and I was like, free gift wrapping at a mall? I mean, it is Christmas time, but you know, malls don't generally offer free gift wrapping, so I went over to explore and find out what it was all about. Rolling Hills Community Church, a local Nashville area church, apparently got permission from the mall to set up this kiosk so that they could wrap gifts for people for free for the holidays, and I thought that was amazing to see. Like, when do you ever see a church come into the mall and do free gift wrapping like this? In fact, a guy walked up to me and asked if I wanted, I'd purchased something from Macy's. He wanted to know if I wanted it gift wrapped, and I was like, well, I don't have anyone to give gifts to, and, I'm from out of town, so I just politely declined, but told him it was awesome to see a church doing that for the community. So now I want to talk a little bit about the aesthetics of this mall as we take a look at these massive chandeliers or lighting fixtures that are throughout the mall. I think the lighting fixtures are awesome. They're very modern and up-to-date. However, the rest of the mall, it kind of falls or follows that boring, bland aesthetic that everything has become today, just kind of like a shoebox, just white everywhere. It is very nice and very clean and minimal, but, that's not really my thing. I prefer, something with a little more character, like the stuff from the 1970s or 80s. And that's not to say I completely hate it. It's nice and clean, but I just prefer the character of the old days. And I guess you could say that's me longing for a time that's long gone, and yes, that would be very true. But now that we've made it down here to the Charlotte Russe, we need to take a look at it because it had something super amazing that I'd never seen before at another Charlotte Russe store. And in fact, you don't see too many of those stores anyway. What we're looking at here is one of the main center courts, and the reason that I decided to stop and focus on this for a moment is because when have you ever seen a California pizza kitchen just sitting out there in the middle of the center court like this? And no, this is not the full restaurant, because if you can see in the background at the top of the screen, there was actually a full-on California pizza kitchen back there as well. I've never seen that before, and that's amazing, because California Pizza Kitchen actually has some really good pizzas, especially that margarita pizza, although they are kind of pricey. One thing I noticed while walking around this mall is that they've managed to attract some stores that you don't see in your average everyday mall. And by what I mean is they're stores that you really only see in the super highly busy large malls. Just think like Great Lakes Crossings in the Detroit area, or maybe American Dream Mall, just your higher end malls, and I don't mean higher end like as in luxury. But this brings us to the food court, and boy, was it a nice food court. It was well lit. They had a really great offering of different types of food. They had everything from pizza to Asian to American food to even sub sandwiches, and it was just great to see. And the other thing, I don't think I noticed a single vacancy in this food court. A big thank you to all of my members who support me here on YouTube and over on Patreon. Without you, these videos would not be possible. If you'd like to become a member and gain exclusive access to member-only content, you can check out the links on screen and in the description box below. But that's going to do it here from the Cool Springs Galleria in Franklin, Tennessee, and I will see you guys on another episode of Urbex.